engage and co-generate response options when necessary to de-escalate crisis. Permit me to commend the AU Commission for the comprehensive report on peace and security it presented to the Assembly of the Union in February. But I want to challenge you to go further than the diplomatically couched recommendations to provide the Assembly with critical points on what they must do. There is a reason why the ensuing discussions on the report are held in camera. Our secretariats cannot tell us what they think we want to hear. That approach has not changed anything to date. We need to explore new territories. They must discharge their mandates to tell us what we need to know by speaking the truth to power. It is important to note that multilateral institutions are only as strong as how member states make them. And when sovereignty becomes a shield, rather the enabling framework for protecting citizens and the Constitution, it is problematic. Experience has taught us that even though external support is essential for accountability, it is ultimately national institutions, structures, and processes that can effectively elicit compliance for our collective norms and frameworks of governance, democracy, and constitutional rule. The AU and our regional bodies must invest in developing our national institutions and empowering citizens with the requisite knowledge to demand compliance and accountability from their governments.
On internet disruptions issue, Minister for Communications and Digitalization, Osla Owusu Ekufo, has announced that the government will promptly license to sell network operators following the disruption in their services. Well, since Thursday, March 14, 2024, mobile network operations have experienced disruptions, leaving many Ghanaians with internet connections. Well, according to the minister, she disclosed that while updating Parliament on the situation on Monday will help solve the menace.
Providers have given them the approximate locations where the cables have been damaged. To commence the repairs, these cable providers need permits from the authorities in Côte d'Ivoire and or Senegal. Their vessels will then be assigned to retrieve the necessary spares required for the repair work before sailing to the fourth location to conduct the physical repair work. The affected section of the submarine cable will have to be pulled up from the seabed onto the ship where the repair vessel, where it will be spliced by skilled technicians to complete the repair. It will then be tested for any defects and which will be fixed and then lowered back to the seabed. This process, I'm told, might take between 1 and 2 weeks for the actual repairs, while it will take about 2 to 3 weeks of transit time for the vessel to pick up the spares and then travel from Europe to West Africa once the vessel is mobilized. And that is why the NCA indicated that it will take a minimum period of about 5 weeks for full services to be restored. With regard to the use of satellites as an alternative, it is important to note that the bandwidth of a satellite backup for network operators cannot replace the capacity that has been lost due to the outage. Satellite backup for consumers is more feasible. However, the cost is relatively much higher than the terrestrial solutions. Immediate initiatives that the government will undertake is that we will license satellite gateway earth stations, London rights, and satellite earth station networks. OneWeb has already been licensed. Starlink is in the process of being licensed. And other operators are being encouraged to land in Ghana. We must also invest in operationalizing RASCOM, the Regional African Satellite Company, instead of each country going it alone.
Ranking member of the Communications Committee of Parliament, Samuel Nati George, has attributed the delay in fully restoring internet connectivity to the ineffectiveness of the National Communications Authority.
Mr. Speaker, I hold the view that we are where we are simply because the regulator that works under the minister failed to do their job. The responsibility rests with the regulator. This is not about another country and force majeure. A regulator doing its job would have put in place the mechanisms and the redundancies that would have allowed us to be prepared for this instance. Mr. Speaker, the cut happened off the coast of Côte d'Ivoire. Côte d'Ivoire was the most impacted country on Thursday. As we speak today, Côte d'Ivoire's recovery is ahead of Ghana, simply because their regulator had put in place the right mechanisms. In the case of Haiti, and if you ask what Côte d'Ivoire is doing, they're using MOVE, the MOVE operator cable. They've immediately allowed all the other operators to piggyback on MOVE. When you speak about the success of Haiti, Haiti is simply able to carry traffic because they have redundancy using the Nigerian link. But is that not supposed to be a prerequisite for all the other operators in the country? Who is supposed to monitor that? It is the regulator. So if the regulator has slept on his job, and today we are found in this position, and then we want to raise our hands up in the air and say, oh, other countries that were affected have recovered and are recovering faster than Ghana because their regulators are proactive. Our regulator today is competing with the Ghana Chamber of Telecom. The Ghana Chamber of Telecom serves the interest of the telecom companies and is their advocate. The Ghanaian regulator is supposed to be the advocate for the rights. The NTA, the National Communications Authority, is supposed to be the advocate for the rights of Ghanaian citizens and customers. The 4 updates that have been put out by
Each
the
type of
NTA
hydrogen
are
production
simply mirroring the
comes with
statements of the Chamber of Telecom. They don't tell us what remedial actions by way of regulatory policy are being put in place for the Ghanaian customer. They're only telling us what the problems are. That is the language of the regulator. He is going to tell you what the problems are. I am expecting the NCA to tell me what the solutions are, not what the problems are, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister must bear in mind, and the Honorable Haruna Iddrisu spoke about the fact that the telecoms industry is in its worst shape in our
politics, where the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has reiterated his promise to continue the party's agenda of building universities in each region of the country. Well, according to him, the 6 new regions created under the NPP's government will be the prime areas for this initiative.
NDC policy, okay, a free Professor Mills Abreso.
It has always been the policy of the NDC to build a university in every region. So under Professor Mills, we'll build universities in regions that did not have. We built one in the Volta region, Eastern, Brong Ahafo, and others without a university.
MPs on Health Committee criticized John Dramani Mahama for describing the Agenda 111 project as unrealistic. While the flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, expressed skepticism over the feasibility of the government Agenda 111 project, describing it as overly ambitious. According to him, while the government initiated the Agenda 111 project, which includes the construction of 80 hospitals, the strategy lacks practicality.
The Agenda 111
project of government as overambitious and unrealistic. There are times that the minority, often than not, has made politics with Agenda 111. But we have taken it as politics as usual. We did not expect the list from the former president to join in the chorus of attacking Agenda 111. So if you call this as overambitious, if you call this as unrealistic, then it is a sheer attack on the manifesto of the NDC. That the NDC's manifesto was overambitious, unrealistic, full of lies and deceit. Because if you say what you mean, and you mean what you say, you don't forget it at any point in time. Your boys in your party would go and make politics out of it, but you, the leader, you don't go that route because of the manifesto. And if you see, we in the majority have always had this, and we said we'll allow the NDC minority to make their politics. But we would wait for the day that the leader would speak on this issue and we'll come at him. So, if you said you were going to do 88 hospitals, and MPP said was going to be 111, then what made this unrealistic and overambitious? The former president has been disingenuous. He has been inconsistent. Just saying things, just going away. We've passed that stage. We should be a bit scientific. We should mean what we say. And if you are not able to do it, doesn't mean when your opponent does it, it means it's not good for the country. We should go past this sort of politicking.
Anti-LGBTQ plus updates, the seat of the presidency has written to Parliament indicating that President Nana Akufo-Addo is not ready to receive the anti-LGBTQ plus bill passed by the August House. Well, in a letter addressed to the Clerk of Parliament, the presidency said it would be improper for Parliament to transmit the anti-gay bill to the president for him to approve. It explained that this is because of two pending applications for an order of interlocutory injunction to restrain Parliament from transmitting the bill to the President and also to restrain the President from signifying his assent of the bill pending the final determination of the matter. Meanwhile, flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has condemned a letter from the presidency directing Parliament to not transmit the bill on human sexual rights and family values to President Akufo-Addo for assent. Well, according to him, it is unlawful for the Secretary of the President to alter such a letter.
Afe, osofo kasa oka LGBTQ asem. Nia oba etimi wari oba bema timi wari bema yena yenim se yamamre enya dia yamamre ejitum esum bia ewo Ghana hebia enjintum Christo sum enjintum Islam enjintum abosom fompo enjintum enti eyade a eyechiwade ema yenkrofo Parliament na say omo aye krata omo wie hu adwuma omo de ko president on no assign na president akase on sign if you say obi de asem no akọ court anti ono obetwen etie ni court beka answer and so no pay me sorry me hu letter be a free president secretary ho eco parliament e man warning say sakrata no mo mfa ma president office mpo na obi obey lawyer obi oye lawyer bia beka cho say president secretary need to me say obetimi atros a letter no if you say parliament constitution and ashem rama omo say omo ye sa eyi ni wi a omo fa nko president ho enti untimi nka say ma onye ne juma say on fa mre ompo obetimi aka say obi say ma president sign enti me twen etie Supreme Court but don't mean throw letter and mark like say more fa emma president as Jubilee House or enti no na wo hwe senya otro letter no mpo a enye buo otro letter no bibibi to say o tumi bi echa in parliament na sa nyoma no say emma amambo no enkoye enti yenim say ye NDC de ye di mra so na ye behwe senya enyoma.
A flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has revealed intentions to introduce electric motorbikes for commercial operations, popularly known as Okada, when elected president. All the electricity-powered motorbikes will replace the existing fuel-powered engines presently used for commercial activity.
The business being able to does not make one driver. We will
Away from politics, the Ghana Armed Forces have responded to the helicopter crash involving some military personnel in the western region yesterday. Well, according to the Armed Forces, even though it can confirm the incident, no fatality was recorded. This comes after the helicopter in the mid-hours of Tuesday, March 19, 2024, was reported to have crashed in the community in the western region. A statement by the Ghana Armed Forces noted that the helicopter was conducting a routine offshore power in-line inspection of the Ituabo gas plant when the incident occurred, but no fatality was reported. Let's do business stories where stakeholders have called for more empowerment for women and the enabling environment to enable them to contribute to the nation's economy. Well, Ghana Enterprises Agency has said to invest 500,000 in Good Test Women's Wing.
Women, and there should be a reduction for women to help many women businesses to be able to register with the Registrar General, because the women are complaining that the amount is too much for them. So I think it should be reduced for men. At least for men, it should be different. For women, it should be different. They should rather look into it for us to help many businesses to be able to open a business account. If any institution should come to Ghana that they are helping women, most women cannot be able to reach to that. And most women, with all due respect, we need to reach to that, because there are so many facilities through the government of Ghana, which I know they are working a lot for Ghanaians, and which many women are not able to at least achieve that because they don't have account opening, because they don't have registered company.
The managing director of the International Monetary Fund, Kristalina, has urged African governments to adopt artificial intelligence as a catalyst for rapid economic development across the continent. She emphasized that AI's transformative potential in reshaping global economies, particularly in labor market, is very useful. Addressing attendees at Artificial Intelligence Summit, she outlined key areas crucial for fostering growth.
Countries are in a different place with regard to those areas. Number one, digital infrastructure. Without it, it is very difficult to capture the of artificial intelligence. What we know is that digital infrastructure is more advanced in advanced economies. We know that in Africa, on average, access to the internet is still only 50% of the population. Some countries do better, but some countries do worse. Second area, and to me is the key for success, investment in human capital and in a flexible, adaptable labor market.
The International Monetary Fund has indicated its willingness to consider alternative measures to tackle Ghana's revenue shortfall following the suspension of the value-added tax on electricity. While the fund said it acknowledges the concerns raised regarding the implementation of the tax and its potential effects on households and businesses, emphasizing its sensitivity to the public sentiment surrounding issues.
People here in Ghana